Welcome to Truth Discovery. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. On January 9, 2026, the Supreme Court of the United States delivered a unanimous 9-0 ruling that reshapes the balance of power in Washington. The justices, from all ideological backgrounds, spoke with one voice to clarify the limits of presidential authority. This landmark decision directly addresses who holds the power to tax and regulate trade in America. The case was about more than illegal technicalities. It was about the core principles of democracy and checks and balances. The world watched as the court decided whether a president could act alone on major issues affecting every American. The outcome sent shockwaves globally, reaffirming the constitutional design that has guided the U.S. for over 2 centuries. This ruling will be studied for decades, not just by lawyers, but by anyone who cares about how government power is distributed. It has real-world consequences. It affects prices at the store, jobs in your community, and even touches on free speech. The decision is a powerful statement about how much power one person should have to influence the economy and the media. Understanding this case is crucial for understanding the direction of our country. It's a story about power, money, and the enduring strength of our democratic institutions. Today, we'll break down this historic moment, explore what led to the Supreme Court showdown, and explain the court's reasoning in simple terms. We'll also examine the immediate impact on politics, the economy, and society. This is not just a legal story. It's about the future of American leadership and the rules that govern us all. Join us as we unpack a decision that has become a game changer for the nation and a powerful statement about the rule of law. To understand this ruling, we need to look at 2 key concepts: presidential emergency powers and tariffs. Congress has passed laws like the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEPA, giving the president special authority during national emergencies. These powers let a president act quickly against extraordinary threats from abroad. Tariffs, on the other hand, are taxes on imported goods, a power the Constitution gives to Congress. This separation ensures that the branch most accountable to the people controls major economic decisions. The conflict arose when a president used emergency powers to impose tariffs, a move that blurred the lines between executive and legislative authority. The question, can a president declare an economic emergency and impose tariffs without Congress? This was a new and controversial use of IEPA. Legal experts and lawmakers worried this could set a dangerous precedent, letting presidents bypass Congress on a wide range of issues. The system of checks and balances was designed to prevent any one branch from becoming too powerful, and this case put that system to the test. At its heart, this debate was about the fundamental balance of power in our government. This legal battle began in 2025, when President Trump used IEPA to impose new tariffs, declaring a national emergency over trade deficits and drug trafficking. The administration argued these were extraordinary threats justifying emergency powers. By bypassing Congress, the White House placed new taxes on imported goods, sparking immediate legal challenges. Businesses hit by the tariffs argued the president had overstepped, claiming only Congress can create taxes. Their lawsuit, Simplified et al., argued that regulating trade is not the same as taxing. 2 federal courts agreed, ruling the president's use of IEPA for tariffs was unauthorized. These rulings invalidated the tariffs, handing a victory to businesses and a defeat to the administration. The government appealed, taking the fight to the Supreme Court. The justices agreed to hear the case, recognizing its national importance. The central question: does a president's emergency power to regulate imports include the power to tax them? The answer would redefine the boundaries between the executive and legislative branches for generations. The nation and the world waited to see how the court would interpret the law and the Constitution. The stage was set for a historic decision. In the Supreme Court, the administration argued the president needed broad authority to act in a crisis, claiming IEPA's power to regulate included tariffs. They said tariffs were just one tool to manage economic emergencies tied to national security. The businesses' lawyers countered that regulate and tax are different, and the Constitution gives taxing power to Congress. They warned that letting the president impose tariffs unilaterally would give the executive a blank check. The justices pressed both sides, focusing on the major questions doctrine. Big economic decisions require clear congressional authorization. Justice Kagan highlighted that creating a massive tariff scheme is a major question needing explicit approval. Justice Kavanaugh noted tariffs are paid by Americans, making this a domestic issue as much as a foreign one. The court searched for a line between legitimate emergency actions and presidential overreach. The stage was set for a decisive ruling on the separation of powers. On January 9, 2026, the Supreme Court delivered a unanimous 9-0 verdict. The president had exceeded the authority granted by Congress. Chief Justice Roberts wrote that IEPA's power to regulate does not include the power to create and impose new taxes. The authority to tax is a fundamental power of Congress, not the president. The court emphasized the separation of powers, stating that if Congress wanted to give the president such power, it would have done so explicitly. The major questions doctrine played a key role. Imposing billions in tariffs is a major economic action requiring clear congressional approval. The court found no such authorization in IEPA. The ruling echoed past cases, like the 1952 steel seizure case, reaffirming that even in emergencies, presidential power has limits. The unanimous decision sent a strong message. Congress's role is paramount, and executive power is not unlimited. This was a clear and forceful defense of the Constitution's checks and balances. The verdict reshaped the boundaries of presidential authority for generations to come. The political impact of this 9-0 ruling was immediate and profound. It was a major blow to presidential authority and a victory for Congress. For years, presidents have used emergency powers to bypass a gridlocked Congress. This ruling puts a brake on that trend. Now the president must work with Congress to pass trade and tariff laws, restoring a traditional balance of power. Congressional leaders and individual members are now central to any new trade strategy. The decision shifts power from the White House back to Capitol Hill. The unanimity of the ruling makes it clear. This is a constitutional issue, not a partisan one. Both Democrats and Republicans on the court agreed, strengthening the decision's legitimacy. The ruling will likely spark new legislative debates on trade, tariffs, and economic competition. Ultimately, it returns the power over major economic policy to the people's elected representatives. The Supreme Court's decision has a direct impact on the economy and your wallet. The struck-down tariffs were taxes on imports, often passed on to consumers as higher prices. With the tariffs now illegal, economists predict prices for many goods will drop, offering relief to families and businesses. American companies relying on imports will benefit from lower costs, potentially leading to lower prices, more investment, and more jobs. However, industries once protected by tariffs, like steel, will face renewed competition from cheaper imports. The ruling highlights the trade-off. Free trade lowers prices but can challenge certain domestic industries. Most economists see the decision as a long-term positive, restoring stability and predictability to trade policy. Businesses can now plan without fear of sudden tariff hikes. The ruling reinforces that major economic decisions should be made through Congress, ensuring a stable environment for all. While this case was about tariffs and presidential power, it has a surprising link to free speech. The ruling pushes back against broad executive authority, reinforcing that government officials can't act beyond what the law allows. This principle is central to recent free speech debates, especially regarding government pressure on media companies. The court's decision in NRA versus Vulo set a precedent. Officials can't use threats to silence speech they dislike. The tariff ruling builds on this, signaling that executive power is limited in all areas, including those touching the First Amendment. Free speech advocates see this as another safeguard against government overreach. The message is clear: power must have limits, whether the issue is trade or television. This unanimous Supreme Court ruling ends one chapter and begins another. The tariffs imposed under IEPA are now void, and the executive branch must stop collecting them. For businesses, it's a final victory. For the government, a moment of reckoning. The ball is now in Congress's court. If tariffs are needed, lawmakers must pass specific laws. This will require open debate and compromise, moving trade policy decisions into the public legislative process. The ruling sets a powerful precedent against executive overreach, strengthening the separation of powers. Any future president attempting major new policies without clear congressional approval will face high legal barriers. For citizens, this is a reminder of the importance of checks and balances. The system worked as intended, preventing the concentration of power and upholding the rule of law. Now it's up to all of us to stay informed, engage in debate, and hold our representatives accountable. A healthy democracy depends on active, educated citizens who value the principles that protect our freedoms.